It is the Air Raid podcast brought to you by VivaTheMatadors.com. I'm Ryan. I'm joined by Bryce and Jonathan. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hey there, guys.
It's another video pod that we're trying to get going. Apologize for last week. We didn't have one for the Kansas game. It's a bye week. It was Kansas. You had to deal with the audio pod on that one. But now we have a little bit of some storylines going on this week. Kansas State is obviously an upgrade and an opponent, so we're going to get into all that. And obviously, everybody felt defeated after the Kansas game with Mahomes going down. We gave up under 20 points, less than 300 yards, and everybody still thought we were trash. I don't know what. I don't know what is going to make us as fans happy. We win 55-19. Actually play pretty well on defense, and people still aren't happy. So I know
84-0 every week.
Yeah, I know you, Jonathan, were continually.
I really want triple digits. I'm not satisfied until we hit 200.
I know you, Jonathan, were really talking about how you really expect video game numbers that we should score on every drive. And if we have to punt, if we turn it over on 4 downs, if we miss an extra point or whatever, you're like completely upset. Like this game is trash. We're done. We're done.
Yeah. I think that we should do better than what we did against Kansas. I'll just leave it at that. Team never punt.
Well, we're going to talk about that. But first, let's get into Mahomes' injury. Obviously, Mahomes was hurt in the
Kansas game?
Third quarter?
Hang on. Something's not right. There we go. In the third quarter, about midway through, he was injured. Basically, I think someone called it a frustration run, and he kept breaking tackles, and someone came up from behind and slammed him into the ground. It's kind of hard to believe that wide receivers and running backs get this type of hit all the time, and they're typically fine, but quarterbacks, no matter how superhuman they seem to be, always tend to struggle with this. So Kingsbury had some interesting thoughts. He basically said Mahomes is day-to-day with a shoulder area injury, and that was after he made some pretty colorful comments after the game on Thursday. But the big thing that I've kind of seen it, or I saw it, was either a broken collarbone, which obviously it's not, or an AC joint injury. And as we were talking about in pre-pod, the AC joint is a ligament that connects your collarbone to your shoulder. Do y'all know a whole lot about the AC joint injury?
Yes, in my years of study of AC joint school, I believe I'm the expert here on this pod.
Hey, look, it's Bryce. How's it going, Bryce?
It's going.
I know nothing.
I know nothing. Okay, well, here is a diagram for the AC joint. And basically, you can see where the collarbone comes in and connects with the shoulder bone, as the rotator cuff and all that. And basically, if that gets damaged or torn or stretched or whatever, that ligament damage really hinders the shoulder from rotation and doing a throwing motion. Sam Bradford had an injury in 2009. He injured it against BYU. I believe he came back a few weeks later trying to play against Texas in the Red River Shootout and injured it again. So I think that's got to be the main point of concern if you are Coach Kingsbury. It's not that that we're really that much concerned with Mahomes' ability to play, especially if it's a low-grade sprain. It's just that what happens if he gets hit again and he's out for the season? I think, are we really going to be super stoked about having him miss 1 to 2 weeks and coming back for West Virginia or Oklahoma and being fine the rest of the year? Or does he really want to push it and get out there against Kansas State, possibly something going wrong? And I think it kind of speaks to Cliff Kingsbury's mindset about making some noise in the Big 12, that he's so adamant that Mahomes is actually going to play. The fact that everything's wide open. Oklahoma is obviously not invincible this year. Texas is struggling. Oklahoma State is, they lost to Central Michigan, but they beat Texas. It seems like if this is going to be our year to make some noise, at least move up in the Big 12 power rankings, that it's got to be with Mahomes at quarterback. What do y'all think about that? That he's pushing this so hard going forward?
I think he's making it sound like he's pushing it real hard to the media, to the public eye. He wants everybody to think that everything's going to be okay with Pat, and that it's not maybe as bad as it could be, or maybe as bad as it really is. So you just use the day-to-day. It's big in professional sports. You just say, oh, he's day-to-day. And when in reality, he may not be actually playing the next week or the week after that. But I do think that Cliff sees the chance that we have this year. We've got a very good offense. Our defense is improving, and the Big 12 is down. So the kind of wounded animal, Big 12, we want to go ahead and kill it if we can. And Pat gives us the best chance to stomp on the throat.
Yeah, I agree. Big 12 this year is total trash. But I was kind of surprised when I kept on seeing all those comments by Cliff saying like, "Oh yeah, no, it's definitely Pat. Definitely like Pat. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna play." Granted, like given all his confidence in like Shimanek and how well like Nick did like this week and how well he did like in a short sample size, granted, but like how he was talking him up and how he was saying like, yeah, it was like we had all the confidence in the world he could go in and light it up just like he did. But then to go back and say like, oh yeah, no, it's got to be Mahomes. Mahomes is gonna be fine. Like if you're really that confident in Shimanek, like why would he be talking up Mahomes so much? I mean, like granted, Mahomes is like an amazing quarterback and a lot better than Shimanek. But like if you really trust like Shimanek to carry the load and make sure that Pat is 100% and like the re-injury risk isn't nearly as bad as if he came back really quick, like why would you not?
Yeah, it's just really interesting how much he's pushing this. If you think back to 2014 when Davis Webb was injured with a fractured ankle and the torn labrum, it was always it's a game time decision. We'll just see how Webb is feeling, and he did that for 4 or 5 weeks, and it was Mahomes each and every time. And basically now he's saying if he gets on the bus to go to the stadium, he's gonna play. Or I think that the last thing he said today or yesterday was Mahomes will tell me at game time whether he's good to go or not.
That was an interesting.
It was very interesting because you're just like.
That's not how that should work.
It's like, okay.
No, the player doesn't tell the coach anything.
I mean, don't we need the training staff? Don't we need, maybe Coach Witt a little bit in here? I know he's strength and conditioning, but he has a big-time background. All strength and conditioning coaches do on injuries and recovery and all that stuff. They're basically head of that department. And how do you, if you're Nick Shimanek, how are you going to adjust when you're hearing all this in the media of, well, if Mahomes comes in, even if his arm, he slept on his arm wrong, but he still wants to play a lot, going to go in there and say, Coach, I'm good. I don't know. But speaking of Nick Shimanek, let's talk about Nick Shimanek because he came in and was basically pretty amazing to come in at that point in the game, 28-19. Kansas is actually within striking distance. We had basically really struggled as a team offensively up until from about, what was it, Jonathan, midway through the second through almost midway through the third, a little bit past midway through the third. It's a quarter and a half at least.
Pretty much, yeah. I think we went 17 plus minutes without scoring.
Yes, and
It's gross.
it is gross. Um, and I think, as Jonathan would say, at that point he's ready to turn off the game because we're not scoring every single drive. You're also sitting there saying, well, this has to be, we have to be better than this. I mean, we're so used to scoring. We've seen this offense be so efficient. Why aren't we scoring? And it's usually stupid things. Like, it wasn't even that Kansas was stopping us. We would have a 30-yard pass completion, and the next thing you know, my wife comes back in the room and goes, "What? They're punting?" I was like, "Yeah, it's 4th and 31." It's like we're going the wrong direction with penalties. Just there's a false start, then there was a holding, then there was Tony Morales was downfield on a screen that wasn't that was eaten up, and next thing you know we have to punt. But Shimonette came in, defense stepped up. They didn't allow a point after that. It really seemed to invigorate them to how their energy level and how they were attacking and blitzing more. They didn't pretty much allow anything after that. So what did you see in Shimonette's game that you liked? I know it's kind of a throwback to another pocket passer we know, but what did y'all think about Shimonette coming in and relieving Mahomes?
Actually, from what I saw from him, it wasn't as much him. Like he played great. I liked his pocket presence, but I feel like the offensive line had kind of let Mahomes down, and he kept on getting sacked. There were a lot of false start penalties, a lot of holding, just kind of lethargic offensive line play. But as soon as Mahomes went down, they really stepped up their game. Like no one even touched Shimonette. No Kansas defender got to even so much as breathe on Shimonette. And so that allowed him to stand upright in the pocket, make his reads. He looked really comfortable in there. I really liked what I saw from him. I totally feel comfortable with him going into Kansas State. I don't know about West Virginia. West Virginia, I literally don't know what to think of them yet because they haven't played anybody. But I really like what I saw from him and from the offensive line stepping up their play. If they could play like that when Mahomes is there, there's no reason we can't score every single drive, every like third play, like Jonathan wants.
At least every third play.
Yeah.
No, I think they actually shuffled a couple of the linemen around when Nick came in, and the team as a whole really banded together after they saw Pat go down. It showed a lot of courage, a lot of leadership on that team to do that. But it reminded me of the Leach era quarterbacks, the guys that would stand there and throw it downfield, something we haven't seen as much from Pat. I think what happened is we went to more of a base air raid instead of the cliff offense, which is a little bit different than your typical spread air raid leech offense. And I think that's what helped us so much is it was a basic for us offense. We were able to execute very well. Plus, it also helped that we were able to outlast Kansas strength-wise. We were clearly the better conditioned team at that point. And I think it was one of Giles's touchdowns where he just ran right past the guy. The guy broke his ankles basically. And I think that just showed that we were better at that point in the game. It probably would have happened if Mahomes was still in there. We probably would have run away with it at that point. But it was nice to see Nick come in there, especially after he didn't have that impressive of an outing against SFA.
So can we talk about Giles real quick and how
Sure.
fantastic he looked?
It's because of his name. His first name.
His first name. I don't have an overlay for it, but yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about Jonathan Giles and how he's basically a number one receiver right now. And nothing against Lottie, but he's made Lottie non-existent in the offense.
Yeah.
It's basically the Giles and it's not even Reginald Davis. Reginald Davis is non-existent. It's Giles and
Cantrell.
Cantrell.
Yeah, it wasn't just Pat hooking up with Cantrell. I mean, Shimonette seemed to have a lot of chemistry with him too. Also, I really love seeing more looks for Derek Willis. I just I just love his game. I think that kind of just big bulky presence, throw it up, fade route, and the red zone kind of presence from a wide receiver is not something that we really had last year. And that was one of the few things that our wide receiving core last year didn't have. Just one of those big boys um, that like. I mean, he's also got some pretty good speed, like out in the open field, which obviously very nice for the air raid, having some elite athletes. But the few catches like that I have seen him have, the few plays that he has made, um, they've been pretty impactful so far.
He's doing a great job blocking downfield as well
Mm.
on that Kiki QT touchdown. He was blocking that guy out of the end zone,
Yep.
Yeah,
um, which was nice to see. But yeah, Jonathan Giles, we were talking about it on the recap. Jonathan, how good he looks and how much bigger and physical and just all around a better target. Um,
And wasn't he somebody that Cliff mentioned coming out of camp
I
that
think
was
so.
going to do really well? He was the best receiver out of camp.
he said that a lot about a lot of people, to
Yeah,
be
that's true.
honest.
Yeah, they've got
Um,
like these 10 receivers. They're all like amazing, and every single quarterback that comes through here, they're also going to be amazing. Which like he's not wrong.
well, I mean, yeah, but let's move this along and talk about something that wasn't so amazing.
Ugh, I don't want to.
You don't wanna?
I want
Let's
to be
talk
team
about the
optimism.
not so special teams. And when we talk about levels of bad, and Cliff talked about it in the presser quite a bit, we're talking about a blocked extra point that happened to go through, but it was blocked. Missed extra point, a botched punt return, two kickoffs out of bounds by two separate kickers, and a safety on a punt, on a botched punt. And I've got
Also,
highlights, so let's
also
roll
missed
the
field.
highlights.
Hey, and a missed field goal. Don't forget.
Sorry, wrong highlights. All right, there we go. It happens. It happens. I'm trying a new setup tonight. It's. I mean, if everybody out there that has a major issue, we understand it. We still thank you for your patience. But this is still a new and ongoing thing. It's something that we're trying to bring y'all that's more fun and exciting than just a regular audio pod. Some technical difficulties for unpaid staffers that do this on their free time. You'll just get used to it. So that's cool. It's cool. So, but yeah, this was epically bad. This is epically bad on any other team. It costs us the game bad. And I think Cliff knows that. That's not saying that Kansas isn't pointed in the right direction because I think they are. I think that in a couple of years they're going to be start getting back to that 2006 2007 Kansas team that were you know throwing the ball around, scoring points. They seemed to have a lot of energy. They didn't get down when it looked like Texas Tech was going to run away with it. But to have this many issues on special teams, especially when you brought in a big time special teams coach who's supposed to be all that, and we're having this amount of struggles, is a big deal, I think.
I think I know the answer to this. How to fix it all. Just never kick, never punt.
Always go
Only
for two.
always go for two. Be like 2010 Oregon, you know, or was it 2012 Oregon that always went for it. But yeah, no, just don't have any kickers, never punt. Only do kickoffs if they force you to. That's it. No kicking problems.
Only, yeah, except when you need 3 points with 4 seconds left, and you're on the 35-yard line, and you need to kick a field goal to win or tie.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
you
Still
should have been
suck.
closer to the end zone.
Yeah, well, you should have, but you're not. So
Well,
Or
then
you
you don't
scored,
deserve to
or
win.
you scored 80 points. What's another touchdown?
I don't know. I think what was really ironic about the special teams gaffes that we had, and I love Clayton Hatfield. I think he should have won the job out of camp last year. But the ironic thing to me is that he had a don't sweat the technique special on how to kick field goals on Texas Tech Athletics, Texas Tech TV.tv, not 3 days before, where he was going through his technique and how he kicks field goals. And then not only he had one block. That's not his fault. But then he missed one, and then he kicked one out of bounds. And you're just sitting there going, okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he had a groin issue, something that affected him that he was just trying to push through. But
hey, I think he just started sweating the technique. He didn't watch his own video. What it was.
Poor Clayton. But yeah, Cam can't boot those in traffic. If we're going back and forth with the team and we're kicking it out of bounds and they're getting it on the 35 or the 40, that's going to be killer, especially on our offense. And I bring that up because I loved Kyle's piece about Cliff Kingsbury being the antithesis to Snyder. We're going to talk about it in a minute. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to talk about it when we come back about the true difference between Texas Tech, Kansas State, and Kingsbury and Snyder.
This is Texas Tech University.
We inspire.
We discover.
We succeed.
We ride.
We share our traditions
and our innovations.
We are champions.
We work hard
and play louder.
We are many things.
But wherever we go
and whatever we do.
Every day.
Every day.
Todos los días.
Every day.
Every day, we are Red Raiders.
What stats?
And we're back with the Air Raid podcast brought to you by VivaTheMatadors.com. We were just talking about the difference between Kansas State and Texas Tech and how they're both polar opposites, just like their coaches. One's old school, one's new school, one's flashy, one's not. And basically, we're sitting here and looking at the stats. Kansas State's total offensive numbers, they rank 109th in the NCAA, averaging.
They'll be top 60 after this week.
Well, that is a valid point. But they're 109th in total offense, and they're ranked 4th in total defense.
They were number 1 before last week.
And boy, was that a barn burner with West Virginia, 17-16. Man, that is some Big Ten type scoring right then.
I bet they punted too. Disgusting.
Oh, I bet you they did punt a lot.
I bet there were a lot of punts.
But I find it really interesting that, Kansas State is a team that always scares me just because they are so disciplined. We've talked about it all week. There's so many articles that we've written on it this past week in preparation. But they just hang around. Even last year, we felt like we were running away with it, and you turn around and they're within striking distance getting onside kicks. And you're like, how did this happen? We were up by so many points, running away with it, and they're just hanging around, just doing their job, not really, letting it bother them. As Hunter calls them, the necromancers just over there, just throwing a little bit more magic around. But how do y'all feel about Kansas State going into this game?
It's the question of, can a good offense beat a good defense? They always say good defense always wins out. I
was thinking it was going to be, can a bad offense beat a bad defense?
Well, I'll get to that next.
Oh, okay.
on that side of the ball, can our offense exploit their really good defense? They limited McCaffrey to, I think, 120-something yards on 20-something carries. And if it weren't for a couple of big runs, his numbers would be a lot less. And he's a Heisman hopeful, former Heisman frontrunner.
I don't know about that after Washington this past week.
Right. Former.
Gosh, that was ugly.
but the Big 12 is not known for having good defense. Kansas State is probably the only team in the conference that has a decent defense, and the question is, are they good? Are they good enough to stop whatever we're going to put out there? Can our offensive line hold up against their pressure? And it'll be interesting to see. And then on the other side of the ball, like you said, can their offense that can't score beat our offense that can't stop people from scoring, other than Kansas? So it's going to be kind of an interesting game.
It's a stoppable force versus a movable object.
Yeah.
And it's thrilling to watch.
Hey, it's the game of the week. All the other Big 12 games are in the daytime. We're the only primetime matchup in the Big 12. So obviously somebody somewhere thought, man, this is must-see television.
Somebody was just very sorely mistaken.
Well, I do think this is a big game because it looks like West Virginia has put themselves in a position that they could possibly run away with the conference basically when they're playing people in their schedule. And they're not overly impressive, but they haven't made any mistakes. And they've beaten teams like Kansas State. And they've done it coming back. I think they were down 13-3 at one point in the third quarter to beat Kansas State. And it just tells you that, this is a if we want to make some noise in the Big 12, regardless of whether it's Mahomes or Shimanek or Sullins or Cliff Kingsbury straps it on again, we've got to win this game. I think this is a must-win game for us with how the Big 12 is shaping out. And it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be you look at some of these players, and let me switch this for y'all. You look at some of these players like Jesse Ertz, they're not overly flashy on offense at all. And it just goes to show you that a lot of their success and opportunities on offense come from an opportunistic defense, turnovers, or special teams, good special teams play, good coverage, good return game. But, you look at Jesse Ertz, 41 of 85, 584 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's like a game. But he does have 37 attempts and 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. You have Dominic Heath, wide receiver, a couple good running backs. They have a whole stable of running backs. And when they get in the red zone inside the 5-yard line, it's Winston Dimmel, their fullback, who makes all the noise. He's got 13 touches, 13 rushing attempts, 6 touchdowns. So basically 50% of the time.
Are those even legal in the Big 12?
Fullbacks?
A fullback?
Yeah, I think those are outlawed in
I'm
Big
pretty
12
sure someone in the SEC said if the Big 12 didn't use a fullback, they'd get their butt kicked.
Who was that? Oh.
I don't remember. Someone not nearly as good as Coach Snyder. But having said that, it creates a lot of problems because you can kind of see how this game, with an opportunistic defense, with how good this Kansas State defense is, getting the ball, again, deep in Texas Tech territory. So it's not even that, big plays or anything like that. You just have Texas Tech up against the wall to start, short field, and it's going to be like Arizona State where they just hand it to Dimmel 6 times and he's going to have another 6 touchdowns because that's what he does. Half of his touches get in the end zone, and that creates a big problem because if we stack everybody up and want to really attack him, they're going to find an opening somewhere else. So let's move on to the keys of the game. Bryce, what is your key of the game?
I think the front four getting pressure on Kansas State's passing attack. I don't think their passing attack should be very dangerous, in the first place, because they haven't had a good passing attack since what's his name, Colin
Klein.
That's the one. They haven't had a good passing attack in a while. Their rushing game is solid, but if you can stifle them in the pass without having to bring extra pressure, I think that allows you to stuff the box more and focus on stopping the run. That makes them one-dimensional, and I think this defense can stop a one-dimensional offense like Kansas State's. Like if we get them out of their comfort zone early in the game.
So I know I said get pressure with front four, which I think is a mainstay with any defense. Would you like to see them, because they're so shaky in the passing game, bring some corner or safety pressure, some corner blitzes and stuff like that to add, maybe get some tackles in the backfield, not just rush passes, but stop the run game as well?
I think that would help. It would also get them out of their comfort zone. Hopefully, force them into some turnovers, which we haven't been great at creating. Which was supposed to be one of the things that we did.
It was last year, not this year.
Yeah, I liked that when the other team would throw to us. That was
it might have something to do with half the turnovers last year were either created by or completed by Tevin Madison, and his role was reduced this year, and now he's no longer on the team. Mm-hmm. You look at almost every turnover last year, and he's either intercepting the ball or forcing a fumble. And I think we're going to miss Tevin a little bit more than we'd like to let on.
I'll just tweet at him, make him change his mind.
Yeah, I don't think Cliff is going to go for that.
Tweet at Cliff, too.
Tweet at Cliff. Yeah, go ahead. Tweet at Cliff.
I'll send him a GIF.
Yeah. Go up there and knock on his office door and say, "What's up, man?"
Hey, I'm that idiot on Twitter.
Go watch Narcos with him.
Yeah.
Oh, I will.
And then just halfway through it, just be like, hey, you should let Tevin back on the team.
By the way, yeah.
Jonathan, give me your key to the game.
It's on offense. It's capitalize. If we get down the red zone, score a touchdown. If we're given a short field, score a touchdown. If we get into a point where we don't score a touchdown and have the opportunity to kick a field goal, make the dang field goal.
Whoa. You said no kickers. So it's basically if you get in position to kick a field goal, score a touchdown.
Score a touchdown. If you have a short field, score a touchdown. If you have a long field, score a touchdown. If you have a medium field, score a touchdown. Also on defense, yeah, we really need to score touchdowns there too.
Yeah, that too.
If you snap the ball, score a touchdown.
If you snap the ball, don't snap it over your head and out of the end zone. I think that this game could turn into something where we don't have as many possessions. If Kansas State can grind it out, it could be similar to the Arkansas game last year. So our chances may be limited. So when we do get those chances, we need to capitalize and score a touchdown.
Well, in the last three games, Arizona State, La Tech, and Kansas, we've gone through extended periods of either not having the ball, getting out of a rhythm, or completely struggling on offense. It's not for the duration of the game, but it is for a significant portion of the game that has allowed teams to either creep back into striking distance or, like Arizona State, take an outright lead and not give it back. So I agree, definitely need to capitalize on offense and keep that momentum going. I will say my key to the game is protect the quarterback. Because whether it's Mahomes, you don't want him to get hit again and then be out for the year. And if it's Shimanek, he's not moving around a lot against the number 4 team or number 4 defense in the country. You don't want him to get hit a lot either because he's more of a standing, stationary target. So we really need to protect the quarterback. This offensive line needs to step up. And to your point, Bryce, when you were talking about how in the game against Kansas, it really seemed to not only affect the defense, the offensive line seemed to step up a little bit where they were holding their ground more than kind of letting the pocket move and allowing Mahomes those avenues to escape. So hopefully we see some more of that, but no matter who it is, protect the quarterback because you can't let Mahomes get hit, and you don't want Shimanek on the ground because he's not going to have the escapability that Mahomes does. Looking at predictions. Go ahead and give me your predictions for this game, guys.
I don't want to because I'm going to be wrong.
You're always wrong. But that's okay.
Even when I'm right, I'm wrong. Oh, God. I don't feel good about it, but I'd say 35-24 Texas Tech.
Not bad.
I say Tech 45-36.
Wow. Okay. I've got Tech 31-28.
Oh, I like mine best.
It's going to be 28-28. Tech's going to be driving. It's going to hit Giles over the middle. He's going to be at the 35. Kansas State 35 with about 3 seconds left. And Jonathan's going to say, throw it deep. And I'm going to be like, kick the field goal. And Hatfield's going to come out and knock it through. And we're going to win 31-28. And then, even though we won the game, Jonathan's going to be upset that we kicked a field goal to win it instead of scoring a touchdown.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Because he remembers 2008 when we could have kicked the field goal to win it, but instead we threw the touchdown pass. And he's like, why can't we do that every time?
Exactly.
Just bring back Crabtree.
Yeah. He's too busy scoring in Oakland.
Yeah, but like it's Oakland. Why not come back?
3-1 Oakland.
See, but would you rather win a division with the Oakland Raiders or win a conference title with the Red Raiders?
I'm pretty sure when he declared to go pro, his eligibility just vanished. So.
See, but if you say take backsies, the NCAA is
is that how it's done? Take backsies?
Yeah, I was just looking at the rule book earlier, and it said just in really small print because nobody wants to read that small print. But I took the time.
Some schools read that small print, apparently.
What?
Nothing. Moving on to around the Big 12. Let's take a look around the Big 12. Only 3 other games going on. You've got TCU and Kansas kicking off at 11. You've also got OU and Texas with the awesome 2-2 matchup for each team.
I'm gonna hate watch the heck out of that. It's gonna be good.
Both coaches are seemingly on the hot seat. More Charlie Strong than Bob Stoops because of the opponents that he lost to. But oh my goodness, can you imagine the media storm of whoever loses this game? I think both coaches would rather just skip to the next week, and I think both coaches would like this to be the Florida LSU game that got canceled and they're not going to make up, and just say, can we just move on, please?
Yeah, there's a hurricane sighting in Dallas.
Yeah.
We're going to have to cancel this game.
It's 70 degrees and sunny. What are you talking about? Nope. It's there.
I can feel it in my bones.
And then the afternoon, I should be doing this while we're talking about OU Texas and watching Mayfield get beat up a little bit, watching the highlights. And then obviously we have Oklahoma State and Iowa State in that matchup. Iowa State actually showed a lot last week. I was really impressed with how they came out and faced Baylor. I don't know whether that makes us feel better about Baylor or makes us really scared to play Iowa State and Ames. I think every year is a test in Ames, but
I just feel better about Baylor because their defense is trash against an offense.
Would you trade that, Bryce? Quick question: would you trade that? Would you trade a loss in Ames for a win against Baylor this year?
Yeah, because it'd be so sweet.
I think I would too. I think it's been, the streak is long enough where I would so trade that game if we get a win against Baylor. So I can kind of see it there too.
See, but
would you trade losses to West Virginia, Kansas State, and Iowa State for wins over Baylor, Texas, and Oklahoma?
Yes, in a heartbeat.
I don't know about that.
I don't have any West Virginia fans.
Because there's that whole, win games you're supposed to win type thing, and
yeah, but like, why not just piss off Baylor and Texas and OU? Like, that's just so much sweeter than losing a game.
If we go by Jonathan's strategy of scoring every time you snap the ball, we will win the games we're supposed to win and OU, Texas, and Baylor.
Yeah. If only Arizona State had gone ahead and went undefeated and won the Pac-12, so that could look like a quality loss instead of getting swamped by USC. and making it look like a quality loss, so we could bring the Big 12 to the college football playoff. But it's fine, Wildcats. We didn't need you to look good. It's fine.
I'm so sick of the college football playoff. I really am.
Bring back the BCS.
Amen. I know that's going to get us a lot of flack, but you take a look at some of these rankings that are going on that have gotten you up in arms about it, and you're just going to wait. Just you wait. But good pod, guys. Getting a little bit more streamlined. Still some technical difficulties. I won't tell you how long and how patient Jonathan and Bryce were with me as we went through some technical difficulties getting mics and everything else to work. But it's good. It's good. It worked out.
We started at 10 o'clock at night, and it's now 4 a.m., so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're basically heroes.
Whatever. I'd see right now this is where I want to be live streaming to Twitch because everybody would know that you were lying. We started at 9 and we were supposed to start at 9, then we didn't get started till about 9:30 and now it's 10:15. So anyway, Texas Tech plays Kansas State at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow because everybody will be seeing this on Friday. Tomorrow, it's either on ESPN2 or ESPNU. Have we gotten a confirmation on which channel that'll be on? I heard it was either or. It was either going to be on ESPN2 or ESPNU.
I thought I had that sheet over here.
ESPNU. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
So it's for sure on ESPNU?
Yes.
Okay. Well, ESPNU, ignore the ESPN2 logo of that. But Texas Tech in a good position to extend and, kind of keep up there in the conference rankings at 2-0. Kansas State desperately trying to avoid a 2-3 start, just like a couple of other teams in the conference. and a losing conference record. So enjoy that. Come back for the reaction pod after the game. We'll have that. I keep saying Jonathan won't join us, but he continues to still be here on the pod because no one else wants to talk to me.
If that's Saturday night, I will not be on the pod.
Oh, sweet. Finally. No, just kidding.
If it's Sunday night, there's a chance I may be on the pod.
Yeah. I doubt it'll be Sunday night. We'll see.
Then I won't be here.
But for everybody, subscribe on iTunes because you're going to get the audio. Cool fun fact about if you subscribe on iTunes, you actually get the pod, the audio pod, downloaded to your device the same night we record it. So everybody else, it's posted the next day. So tonight's Thursday night, it'll post Friday. But if you actually are subscribed to iTunes, you are going to get this tonight to your device. I have no control over that. It's not like it's a cool thing that I've set up. It's just that's how it goes because I upload it tonight. Also, I'm not getting paid for this. I just got some for my kids. If you are looking for super cool pajamas for your kiddos, go to fastastleeppjs.com. I'm not kidding. They have awesome Texas Tech. Basically, it's the all-black uniform for Texas Tech. It's good quality, kind of almost tackle twill, but it's got the jersey material. Definitely check that out. I highly recommend it. Christmas is coming up. Do it.
Hey, it's the official, unofficial sponsor.
Official, unofficial sponsor. That's right. I hope they hear this and they pay me for my shout out.
Share the wealth.
Yeah, I bought one for my oldest son, and he absolutely loves it. He's running around with the football, and I've actually got him to sing the entire school song. He knows more of the school song at 3 years old than I did in my junior year at Tech.
And 90% of the fans at the stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait until the last little couple lines, and then we all know it then. No, but it's good.
For those of us that are still there.
Oh, ouch. We didn't even get into
Bryce is the child jokes?
Say what?
The Bryce is the child jokes? Yeah.
No, we didn't even get into fans staying at the game. all the way to the Matador song, especially the student section. But we'll let Kingsbury handle that because he had a comment about it, very PC comment, but I guarantee you if it continues, he'll probably speak out to it about it at some point. He's got to walk a fine line. But having said that, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Jonathan and Bryce, for hopping on. It's Texas Tech and Kansas State tomorrow night, 6 p.m. on ESPNU. Until the Reaction Pod, thank you, everybody. This has been the Air Raid Podcast brought to you by VivaTheMatadors.com.